Board of Architectural Review meeting of today, September 16th, 2024. Present by Christopher Gao, myself, Stephanie Rinser, and Rob McQuilkin. Julie Reed has apologized. She's not able to be present because of a family emergency. And John confirmed that the neighbors have been noticed on all the projects.
They were not noticed on the M&M plan.
Just so there's too little.
There was no opposition, any opposition early on, which is
Okay, and I don't believe there are any conflicts with any of the board members today, with any of them.
Nope.
Okay, so we can start right away with the holdings, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buckingham. Nice to see you guys, Jim. So we're doing a small revision to the terrace. Margie and Mike, when they evaluated things, they sort of wanted to limit pulling entertainment into the lawn and down to the lake. So they omitted the grand staircase that was originally proposed opposite the pool. And instead, we're adding a small discrete staircase on the left here, really for more maintenance and get into the bunker for the pool equipment. The steps are going to be the same character and size as the ones on the northwest corner. They'll be granite slab, rustic steps, 4 feet wide, and we'll roll the grade up with it. And then plantings were just adjusted. Again, minor. It was the same real plant palette. I did take out the miscanthus, like you read.
Thank you.
And I added some switchgrass, which is a native. So again, we're just using more of that meadowy kind of riparian connection that's on the other side of the bunker and continuing that along. And now, and the steps will be softened with all these nice native plantings. There's coneflowers and monarda and spirabolus and asters. And then I just wanted to go back to the elevation change, which is on the top here. So now, again, we used to have the grand staircase opposite the lights. The lights remain because they, relate to the pool. But then we're just rolling up the grade, and here's that set of stairs. So really, it's just
Much better.
it's even, it's balanced, I feel. And the plantings again will hide the vast majority of that wall. So I think it works out. Do you have any questions?
What is the tallest planting
Against it?
against the wall to hide that
I have a
wall?
viburnum dilatatum sort of near the doorway, and that could get 6 to 8 feet tall easily, probably close to 10. But then I would say the Joe Pye weeds, the switchgrass, they're gonna get, 4 foot tall. So it's really you'll see maybe like 2 foot tops of the wall.
And Andrea, that's a bed about what, like 5 or 10 feet deep, or
Even a little bit deeper. than that.
amazing? Here's a question.
Yeah.
This is more just a matter of sort of housekeeping, season in, season out, but to possibly keep those and cut them down, maybe that
But
was
we only do it in March.
good.
Yeah, last minute. I like it through the winter. It's
Bonus for our
more natural.
winged friends, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think it's.
And that'll continue to soften all 4 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be, I love the whole project. My only concern has always been this, what I call Fort Knox wall that, you see from the lake, that there's this beautiful house and all these plantings and then this new wall. So yeah, as much planting to hide that. If there's some evergreens you could put in as well, so that it's always hidden.
Yeah, I feel like
Not-
there's a lot of vegetation on the lake in this section, so you get a filtered view in anyway. And I feel like this is more in keeping that meadowy kind of look and billowy. I don't want to add, evergreen trees that are going to get
No,
too big
right,
and
no, no.
overwhelm. And the materials we're using are the native granite, that's from, so I think it relates to a lot of the houses on the lake. You have sort of more of that.
Retaining walls with,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, at large scale.
But yeah, I'm looking at what you say, that is very deep and nice and deep, like at its deepest,
Yeah,
maybe
here it's-
15 feet, maybe
Yeah.
on the right. Yeah.
Yep, it's probably 15 to 18 feet. here.
Lovely.
And then it's, at the shortest end, maybe it's 6,
Yeah.
but then it billows.
But you
out.
also don't see as
And I
much
wanted
out
to
there.
give it
Yeah.
that sort of roll.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
So then that was the only change?
That was the only change.
Okay.
So really, it's just taking out that stairs, adding this staircase. So now there'll be a gate here.
There's no banister or anything like that, or is there?
Well, This whole
No, I mean on
banister
the
continues.
stair,
Um,
down the stair?
No, because the grade rolls down with it,
Mhm.
and the plantings will be, probably 2 to 3 feet high on either side. I don't think there's.
To give you a
gonna
visual
be-
cue, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's
supposed to be
better.
more natural
Right,
and
great,
feminine,
yes,
like a
that's
lot of,
good.
You know,
So no railing?
No
which is
railing.
Good, that's great. So does anyone have any additional comments or questions? No,
I think it's just beautiful.
any comments? So, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the application, of Tuxedo M&M Holding. Everyone have a second?
Right.
Okay, can I?
So from Andrea Buckingham, the Sam Schmidberger residence, 3060 Slate Road, dated the revised, the 12th of August, 2024, the rear terrace adjustment of replacing the grand staircase with a slab granite landing, 4 foot wide with 6-inch risers.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So 3 in favor. Thank you so much.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Andrea.
Well, project is,
Love all these show and tells.
Well, again, we did receive approval for a previous project. And then unfortunately, because of financial considerations, because the pricing came in exorbitant. And also the timing was, significantly longer than the Bartlett's
Mhm.
really wanted to anticipate. They asked us to simplify this dramatically. So programmatically, we're doing as much as we can do, but we're actually keeping the majority of, with the exception of the new screen porch, we're just renovating the existing back wing of the house, changing some of the windows, because they're not original to the house. But keeping it within the envelope that we originally had and just getting the screen porch. The intention is still to do what was approved. So the roof is still being replaced with the shingles as approved. The windows are the Marvin Ultimate full wood windows that were originally approved.
Fantastic.
We're
thank you.
keeping the color as existing because it
Mhm.
was all things that the Bartletts agreed with
Right.
and agreed with about the house.
Mhm.
So all of that is the same. It's just that we had to simplify the overall scope.
It's funny because the net result strikes me at least as an improvement of.
Well, it's in some ways because we were forced, sometimes money does that to you. It forces you to distill it back to what they really wanted. So as an example, the new master or primary suite that we added on the second floor originally,
Mhm.
when it really became in terms of, do you really need this? For them, it was much less of a concern than having space for they now have grandchildren, they needed space for the grandchildren. They needed a new kitchen. The kitchen is, if you've seen it, the kitchen is a disaster. So they needed a new kitchen, and because of the bugs, and they do use this year round, the screen porch was sort of the big ask.
But I love that pediment on the lower right-hand side.
And
of
the pediment actually is existing.
Oh, so that is what's there.
Right, it was there in the previous one, when you actually see the drawings, I think that's easier, but. We went back to simplifying, quite frankly, so this shows it better, I think. So in the previous approved one, this was a wing that was extending out.
Mhm.
This we were revising, so we were removing all of this existing detail,
Okay.
Mhm.
which was approved. But in fact, now, because we're simplifying,
Right.
this part of the house, with the exception of new roof and repairing the shingles that are in disrepair, this is staying exactly the way it is. We're not touching it.
The rhythms of it feel much more satisfying, and then the tower, for lack of a better word, is less stranded on its own.
Well, true. The tower has always been my issue,
But now with that pediment,
we're
it
not
kind
allowed
of,
to get rid of the tower because, so now, and this part of the house exists.
right.
It's just that the dormers don't make a whole lot of sense. Moving it away from the wall, which was, I think, a very interesting concept originally. We just can't, to get the program, we just can't afford to lose that space.
So I remember one of the concerns was that wall against the hill was,
Retaining wall,
the
yes.
retaining wall was damp, and
Right.
so you've got, are you replacing it, or you're a new
No,
wall, or doubling it?
The contractor is actually, he's gonna approach it as though it's a basement wall.
Mhm.
And so he's going to waterproof it from the inside.
Mm.
He's
Oh,
going to add a
interesting.
French drain at the bottom of the wall so that all that dampness
Has a place to go,
actually is
yeah.
removed.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna build he's gonna do a plastic waterproof backing and then a third wall in front of it.
You're gonna do it on the other side of the wall, right? Not
Inside the garage.
really?
Well, 'cause the other
We
side-
did it on the other side just
Oh, so
now,
you dig-
adjusted,
you
and it
dug.
was fantastic. It was so much fun. No, it was, so all the water that comes down the hill, it's a similar layout, is now gonna fall down this deep gravel pit into a drain, and it's not even gonna touch the wall or the house. It just
That's-
worked really well. It was 4
Was the wall
days,
As tall, the wall's almost 12 feet high.
12 feet, yes, it was 12 feet.
I will let them know that because.
It was very interesting, and it was so clean and quick. So they dug it all out, then they dried the wall quickly, applied a liquid rubber tar substance, then filled but this much gravel all the way down with a drain at the bottom,
Mhm.
and then filled it all up. And so any water that comes down just falls straight down without ever touching that wall
Right,
again.
so the whole
You
thing is
don't
essentially
see-
French drain on the outside.
Right.
And you don't see you don't see anything at all. It's exactly.
Interesting.
Anyway,
will
sorry,
mention
it's
that
a
to
whole
them.
different subject,
Right.
so
That'd be great, because it's a beautiful granite wall, is that right, or
it's fabulous, that
your
wall.
wall? So you would be
Yeah,
able
no,
to
it's,
keep
it
the,
is mostly very flat. Well, the wall is a big wall.
right,
So where you see it coming, where you see it coming into the house and where you see it protruding from the outside,
Mhm.
where it's exposed outside, you'll still see it.
Right,
You
right.
just won't see it in the garage.
Ah,
We tried the
just inside the
interior,
garage.
we tried to do the interior waterproofing, and that actually ended up moldy. So 2 years later, the whole wall was covered in
I'll
mold from the
mention this to
inside.
To the guys, because they have all kinds of experts to
Mhm.
look at this. I will let them know that
It
because,
was an,
I mean, you're not, the intention, once you're, from the outside, it's not gonna look any different. From the inside, we're trying to solve the
Right.
water problem.
right.
Because right now, the garage floor is always damp.
yeah, we had. So, is there any questions?
No, as I said, for whatever reason, it feels like a nice sort of editing down, and,
It's like,
Right, the front, and also the landscape that was previously approved, with the exception of the really pretty fireplace that we all really love, but is no longer, there's no longer space for.
Mhm.
But the planting along the big wall on Continental is still planned. The front entry walk, just the way it was approved, is still planned. And the whole stepping down to the pool, all of that stays. We're not changing any of that,
Fantastic.
because it still works and it's still really, really pretty.
one question I have is where, oh, here they are, okay, so
Solar panel.
I'm looking at the solar
So
panels.
the solar panels are where they were originally,
right.
because they're on the.
Yeah.
We still have researched the idea of better shingles for the solar, and it just don't exist yet.
No.
But the
Right.
solar panels are on the two, roof elevations that you don't really see from.
Right.
I mean, you really don't see them from anywhere.
when you go up your driveway and it's in winter and there's no leaves on the tree,
Fisher will see them, but
you'll see it, but
It's
from
into-
the road,
Right.
it's
From
not
the road, you
visible.
don't see them.
Mm-hmm. Right, And you wouldn't see it on this side of the gambrel because you're sort of below it from the garden side. And
Right,
Yeah,
right,
but
because
you
you
can
don't,
see
you
them
don't
on
see,
this-
when you're in
on
the
this
front yard,
one.
you don't see the top roof, the top gambrel
So
roof.
you're gonna see these ones.
I
So-
don't know, would you?
No.
Well, you'd have to be positioned in a very certain place to get any view of it,
I
right?
just drove by to see and to look at that roof to see, and it was hidden by all the trees and everything. So
You could also take down like 3 or 5 of them and you really never see it.
but you're saying this is something you wish you like to do, but you haven't found the right ones yet, or have you
No,
found
we were
one?
looking for, because the first presentation we made to the board, we were looking into.
Where the shingles and the.
Right, we posed the question, were
Right,
you
this-
opposed to solar, because we hadn't actually, we weren't
Mhm.
gonna research it with the engineers until we knew you weren't opposed. So we thought originally, we looked into the Tesla shingles,
I know,
which is a
yeah.
brilliant concept, but it's still a concept.
Right.
So they don't actually, and they, when you see the pictures of them in the brochures, they look like slate shingles.
Mm.
It would be brilliant.
They
but
don't exist, right?
yet.
I signed up for them
Right.
also, but
They
I never, I
don't,
don't know where
yet
they are.
exist, because then you could do the whole roof, because we have to do the roof anyway.
Right.
So we're doing the standard photovoltaic black ones that are.
Just in very
There is-
isolated spots.
There is
Isolated
one
spots.
thing that's just come up, which I don't know whether you're aware of this solar initiative. So at Chastellux, I was also thinking, how could solar panels be integrated in a way that they can't be seen on that flat roof on the theater maybe. But then I found out that we could actually sign up for 100% solar energy. So all of our electricity at Chastellux is 100% solar derived. We just bought a share in a solar farm for nothing. We got $1,000 rebate. Of why, I don't know, but I had the check in my hand. And we're paying very low electricity costs. And so we have the benefit of using only solar energy, getting the rebates and not paying anything up front. So I don't understand how, but.
the solar farm that is powering that is?
I think it's not far from here. I can get that. It's Michelle Lindsay who signed us all up for it. So it could be something to be considered.
Oh, I'm just simply trying to reduce my own carbon.
Exactly.
Whether I reduce it on my house, or. reduce it
Espe-
on
And
my-
if one saves
Build one.
$35,000 also for, it's even possibly better.
Well, because it makes sense that somebody doing it at scale can
Right,
produce
right.
solar power a lot more efficiently than Richard Bartlett in his backyard or on the top of his house. And so, well, I'll tell Michelle, I mean, it would be great to know that we could do this if we need to, but I would prefer to do exactly what
It's
you're
an
doing.
initiative that she's mentioned, but I signed up for it as well. I didn't get $1,000 check. But it's an initiative that's, it's a no-brainer, so I'm surprised not more people have done it. So maybe we'll make more announcements about it. You just click sign up and it's fantastic. It's a very good move.
So, are we ready to, so in terms of
think so,
the panels, would we be saying that we approve them pending that
Well, I
they
think the
can't be
pa-
seen?
I think the panels have been approved.
Yes, but
So even in as much as this design, it might have.
slightly changed, right?
Right.
I don't
The
think
panels
mate-
are roughly in the same.
I
exactly
don't
the
think
same location,
materially.
on the roof.
Okay, so we
Elevations
don't
that you
even have
don't
to
see.
discuss them. We don't even have to mention them specifically here because,
Also have a feeling after your sales pitch, it's a moot.
Right.
So the elevator's out and the grandchildren are in.
Pretty much.
Are already.
Oh.
But the impetus is real. I've seen them.
Right.
They're there. And so we need to move it up. We need to, they need to have
I think
swimming
it's all
lessons
great.
next summer.
so
Great.
I'd like to now make a motion to approve the revised application for the Bartlett residence. Could you read out the new plan?
Russell Riccardi Architects, and the plan sheet number A001A dated 23rd of August 2024, and A101A, A200A, and A202 A.
And it's double-sided, Christopher, so there are a couple of.
Thank you. And A 002A. And A 102A. And A 201A. Finally, A 203A. Did you get that, Desiree?
What a beautiful house.
Second?
Second.
All in
Oh.
favor?
Aye.
Can I just ask, who should we talk to about the actual structure of that wall? I know Michelle on the solar, and I'll follow it, but
Oh, you can speak to me. I can give you the reference of the person who's just completed that work.
our main number one priority is no mold. So anything that will make this work.
So the first attempt failed, and 2 years later, it was the whole basement was moldy. So so if you want to take my details, I'll send you put you in touch with the landscaper who did it. Did a really good job.
I'm wondering if there's any rock out properties on the outside of that wall, and that's why they're off.
To be honest, I don't know that they have explored that directly because they just bringing the big original assumption. I think they had done something similar. They just completed in some fact. Significant portion of it is in the base, is in.
Right,
basement.
right.
So but this seems like much more logical.
Well, feel free to
keep the
come and
water
look.
out,
Come
Instead of
visit.
coming already in
Yeah.
a foot, keep
Right.
it out seems like a no-brainer, but.
Sure.
So
Well, the approach that Stephanie mentioned
Yeah.
is the more typical approach to keep the water on the outside and get it away from that. And not letting it get inside of the wall. That's the more common.
I'll just give you my details and then just come and look, just come and take a look to see if it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, and those renderings are beautiful. They're very lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
The more,
So, so now the third item on the agenda is Tenari residents at 94 Pine Hill Road.
Christopher, if you don't mind me, it might be better if you don't cover the speaker. in front of that.
Hey everyone, Matthew Tenari is on. I'm boarding a plane shortly, but I'll listen in for the first part.
Hello. Andrea, and the recording secretary has a little trouble hearing, so you might just want to speak up a little bit louder.
No problem. So I have samples of the material that we like to use for the banding. It's reclaimed granite from Stone Farm in Connecticut. So it's all reclaimed. I think it fits with the age of the house. So basically, if you did a site visit, but you can see from the pictures here, the existing driveway is a mix of asphalt, parts were in complete disrepair, and then gravel was added, so it's moving around. The entry courtyard, they just did the geothermal, so that was dug up. If you look at what was restored through there in the entry courtyard, before I go back to the front, here are pictures of the house from previous. Molly had gotten these. As you can see, there's a little center island that was planted. The trees grew up. You couldn't even see the house when you came down the entrance drive. And then before they bought it, that was removed. And they believe that 2 owners prior put in the white fountain that exists now in that center courtyard near the entryway. So the
Is
plan,
that, Andrea, that the fountain was sort of painted concrete or something?
yeah, I can't tell. It's painted. I don't know
Even
what the
from the
original
picture here,
material
it
is.
looked like it had just been like
Yeah.
some paint applied to something.
It's been that way since I've seen the house, so
Not an historic detail.
no, not at all. It's been there since in the 2000s, so
Okay,
it's,
right.
yeah. So there's existing piers. if you notice, the piers right now are faced with like slate. It's like flagstone. It's not even real stone. It's not stone used for veneer.
I
It's
see it.
flagstone.
Yeah, yeah.
And part of it's falling down already. They are 8 feet tall, the existing piers. So what we're proposing to do is to take off all that facing,
Mhm.
reface them in the native granite. We have a stockpile on the property.
Is that like a 3-inch veneer or,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's gonna have to tool every little piece.
but a nice solid.
Solid,
Yeah.
yes, 3 inches. And then we'd like to cap it in a nice solid granite cap. This is the neighbor's house, and then for reference, their size lights are what we're proposing to use on their piers, which is about 36 inches high, which I feel like
Yeah.
you have an 8-foot-high pier and
Right.
it's 2x2,
Right,
you
right.
need some scale.
It's a little bit overwhelming for that, which is about what, 4 feet tall, that thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not.
but on an 8-foot pier, it'll look good.
Because there's the lights already there,
There are lights there, but
but these will be taller.
yes, they'll be, yeah.
You can
they'll be a
see
little
them,
taller.
Christopher, where this van is, do you see? A couple of shots in the middle.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So there'll
Oh,
be
sorry,
about-
Out
we-
of proportion.
Right,
Things
right,
are just
yeah.
out of
So
proportion in there.
I think we're talking about the entry gate, not those
Well,
ones.
both. I
Both
think.
Oh,
gates,
both,
turns
okay.
out, so it's
So
four
you're doing
lights.
the same for both sets?
Yes, we're not refacing the ones that are near the courtyard because
They
they're
don't need
of a
it.
different
Right,
material.
right.
So they're okay. We're actually gonna add Boston ivy to the side, so it'll hide it. And then just replace the lights,
Yeah.
which are right now not functioning, so. But the entry ones are the ones main concern. And then the feeling was to again use that native stone, but use it flat laid as a bit of an apron. So as you come up to the gate, we're gonna do like a 10-foot apron. We're gonna add some drainage because right now, again, we have a water issue where everything's just sliding
Mm.
and washing out. And then basically the entire driveway is going to be a 3/8 inch crushed stone, so it'll be much more permeable, softer. I think it's better with the age of the house. And then instead of having the fountain, which is constantly getting hit by delivery trucks and they tend to, we have our parking here, we're trying to organize it into a more cohesive spot. And my idea was to pull pattern into the courtyard to extend sort of the entry steps, which are relatively small, and right now you just walk directly onto the driveway. So I've come up with this banding. We'll have a 3-foot wide band of this reclaimed cobble. You'll have a 3-foot post coming out wide and 3, so this is 2 of the jumbo 4x4 sets. And then, since this is bluestone, we're going to extend the bluestone at the bottom of the steps and then do a bluestone banding and then inset with the shoulder cord and then the cobble further in to give it a lot more texture and detail. Right
So
now,
what's this, I'm sorry, what's this design made of? Is it just,
it's
a
all
different
flat laid, so it'll
Okay.
be, the bigger band is bluestone, it's only, it's a
Okay.
foot wide.
okay,
And then inset from that, you're gonna have, you're gonna have the 6x9 next to it. And then you're gonna have the sets to fill in. So this will fill in spaces between these areas. So it's just sort of popping this detail that again, the bluestone links to the entryway, the cobble links to the banding. And then you sort of delineate the fact that this is now your turnaround space and here's your parking on both sides. And then the infill is just the same crushed stone as what the driveway is.
and those rectangular areas, they're walkways now, or?
Here, no, this is just the banding on the edge of the driveway.
It's just definition.
It's not a
Yeah.
walkway, it's just.
It's
oh,
not a
I see,
walkway.
I see,
It's
I
kind of
But
like
you
a,
can see it a little bit better here. So there's planting beds along the
Right,
edge.
no,
So it's
right.
really just
see.
delineating.
drive right over the
between-
detail.
Yeah, and it's almost, I mean, you could say it's an edging walkway because it's 3 feet wide.
Mhm.
You could walk along the edge to get, so you don't have to step on the gravel if you wanted to, just connecting here.
I love
But
every-
really, it's a band to delineate the driveway and keep the gravel in, away from the planting beds. And I feel like because the courtyard is so large scale, you sort of need that depth, the banding has to be significant enough
And all of that looks really good to me. I love that sort of rounded oval.
Mhm.
That detail is really pretty and feels very right for the house.
Thank you.
And I love the relationship of the parking sort of courtyard off of it, if you will.
Mhm.
I can't help finding the lotus detail like overwrought and too much. And I wonder if there is any possibility of simplifying that somehow. Perhaps even just having the large circle oval that you have so beautifully
Mhm.
speak to the curvature, but minus the interior detail within the curvature. Having those two curves meet,
Mm.
it's very beautiful. But I don't understand. I worry about that kind of tracery and stuff, and we've seen so much of it in the last 30 years. I don't know why it's necessary, I guess. But did you have is it something you're wedded to, or?
I just thought it was a nice detail to
Yeah.
put a little interest on the ground as opposed to, you know, again, minus the fountain. To,
Right.
You know,
I see
sort
what
of
you're
draw
saying,
people
right.
in, almost.
I mean, this house would draw anyone in, but from the rhododendrons right on in, but.
The juxtaposition with the gravel and the cobbles,
Mhm.
that you've done this before, right? It's
Yeah.
not a
Mhm.
problem, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because the gravel will keep just slightly below the level of the
Uh-huh.
So
Okay,
it-
there'll be a slight raise.
slight raise,
Okay.
yeah, so you're not having it moving around and
And where are the geothermal pipes?
that I'm not positive, but I know they were digging, it's all really in this area,
Hmm.
so.
It's exciting
That's great.
for a house that scale.
And the benefit will be that there'll be no snow accumulating there, because it'll be warmer. So,
Right.
So,
So true.
would you be able to explain
Oh,
the planting? Is there any particular planting to be added, or this is
No.
just nothing to be added?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all existing
Mhm.
plants right now, okay.
I think there will be a planting scheme coming. Matthew's told us.
We're doing other areas of the property as well, down the road,
Right.
phasing in. Mhm.
So I'm sorry to be so stupid, but I don't understand. I know you just explained this to me,
Mhm.
but how is that lotus? Is that
It's
lotus
flat.
gonna be made of different types of stone? Why am I so thick? I'm not getting this.
I think it's.
Yeah,
blue
It's
stone.
different colored band,
It's
so it's
bluestone, right?
So
kind of subtle,
This
or-
is bluestone.
Okay,
They're like
and then-
12
so it's
inches.
not gonna look as strongly,
Maybe
N-
not.
No, because
Right.
it's, well, it's just, they're all muted colors, so it's gray and then this, but all flat laid, so the bluestone will match this in a
Mhm.
band. And then, you know, I added this to just give it a little bit
Right,
more
right, right.
relationship to
I
what I
see.
have on the outside.
Mhm,
But it's all completely flat laid.
mhm, mhm. It's not a strong color difference or anything.
No, it's all very muted, because I feel like, you know, the house is the color of pop, everything else has to be a little more subtle.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm of the same thought. I'm a little bit,
Yeah,
if it was
so
my opinion, I wouldn't do it, but
if it was my
it's-
house, I would
it's-
not, even if it was a different color, I couldn't, it's something that would really bother me after a very short time.
But that's just.
And because it's pointing at this staircase. I don't know, I'd find that very difficult to live with personally.
I mean,
What
I
do you-
feel like, again, I think that, I mean, and look, this is ultimately, I don't think it's something that anyone would. But, you know, again, it's a personal issue, but the simplifying it to me would make so much sense. You'd get all the benefits of it. You'd have this gorgeous program, the gorgeous large oval, this other sort of oval that does lead you into the house, and it could have, you know, enough falderall to sort of be fun and draw you in, but maybe just a little bit simplified. I mean, it's just maybe worth thinking, a conversation for you and the clients, but I think what I'm hearing is what I'm feeling too, it's just that we would totally defer it, but we just wanted to be on the record, right?
Mhm.
And not go the other way, have TG initials on there.
No, we would never do that.
Citizen
Yeah,
Kane.
I could certainly discuss them, and we could.
It does look a
we-
little Citizen Kane.
We could, We could keep the outside banding, which I think relates to the walkway.
Yes.
Mhm.
And we could do, it in herringbone or something,
You know, it would be
in
really
cobble.
pretty is to go all Fletcher steel, and have the beautiful thing, and then all of a sudden surprised with slight asymmetry of laid, something a
Mhm.
little bit late arts and crafts going into deco, which is what this is. I mean, but I just,
Something like that where it's like a, figure eight kind of
Mm.
thing would be, like a knot garden,
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
sort of thing. They're
It's
just
such,
ideas.
it's such a plain, beautiful facade that this kind of, to me, matches the mood more rather than a busy.
So I think I'm just gonna have to hang up, but I think we're open to looking at alternatives for that front section.
great.
Kind of defer to Andrea.
Yeah, we're not saying no to it. We're just,
No.
we're just opining. We're just being very nosy. and-
It's not Judith Tankard, it's Robin someone who did the Fletcher Steel monograph. If you look in that monograph and just look
Yeah.
at some of the stone treatments,
Mhm.
it's an interesting period because he's working in the arts and crafts tradition in the 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yes.
So there may be some interesting things to take a page from within the beauty of this other larger program that I do think is so successful. It's that Lotus thing that bothers me a little bit.
Okay.
And the lighting, so it's electric, not gas that you're.
Yeah. Mhm.
And what are the specs?
It's
of
very
the-
similar to the neighbors, which is right next to it.
So y-
So it's the same scale, 36 inches
Well, that's the
high by
neighboring.
about, I forget
again?
if it's
You
like
were asking
16,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
it the
18
neighbor?
inches wide.
Is it Dow or which neighbor is it?
Walensky,
Don't recall them.
the Strohmeyer house.
Okay. The new house. Newish house, just further down.
Oh, okay.
The one that had the,
Eagle's Nest?
No, that's
no, the one that has
that's-
the,
yeah,
the
that's on the other
the
side. I
previous
think.
Mrs. Strimmer had a piano with the
Oh.
zebra rug over the piano.
Okay. Sorry, pulling a blank.
So it'll be the same thing with these sort of imitation candles with the,
Yeah.
with the light bulbs. And what sort of
Yes.
lumens will that be? What sort of light?
I don't have that on my fingertips, but I could get you that information.
Because what do we normally ask?
I'll send you, there are some minimum or maximum.
Yeah.
specs I'll send you.
Okay.
And the lights are to be painted white?
No,
What's the proposed?
they're
color?
the bolos. Copper. Copper.
Just raw copper though.
Yeah,
Oh,
that will
okay.
age.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure they're dear.
And do we need a variance because they're taller than before?
I think if there's already existing lights there, I don't think we should. worry
Okay.
about focusing on
Okay, great.
Are you changing the color of the gravel? Did I hear that before? Do we know what color?
It looks the same,
It's the same,
the
okay,
gray.
if it is, that's
Yeah,
fine. that's
yeah,
fine.
no.
So there's no change there for the
which I
gravel.
think is perfect for this house.
Well, yeah, we need to, I wanted to relate it to the roof.
I
It's the
normally
same
I love pea
roof
gravel with all the
structure.
variety, but for this house, I think the consistency
Mhm.
just sweeping directly up to the
Yeah.
is just right.
So, any further comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? No? So, I would like to therefore make a motion to approve the architectural plans for the Tenari residence at 94 Annual Road.
Do you want me to carry on?
Yes, please.
Proposed by Andrea Buckingham, dated the 4th of September 2024, sheet D1, sheet D2, and with the copper lanterns, subject to the maximum lumens permitted that our builder, John Ledwith, will supply.
And in the hope that the Lotus would be simplified.
Second,
A second.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll help.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
like to then move forward to the fourth applicant for today. It's for 457 Westlake Road. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for taking the time to accommodate the site visit.
Yeah,
for us.
thank you. for coming. Okay. Is this okay if I just leave it here?
Totally.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll get that. Got it?
So, you guys have already been to the site, but here's the existing pictures too. Okay, so as you know, our clients.
Could
that-
you just state your name
Oh,
for the record, please?
Yeah, Gracie Amsbacher, Assistant Landscape Architect for Biosphere, and I'm representing our clients at 457 Westlake Road.
Thank you.
Yeah, so our clients at 457 Westlake Road, they really have a strong environmental ethos. And so they really want to create this healthy landscape and create more biodiversity. So with that, they also want to remove any invasive plants. So that being barberry, there's some burning bush, Phragmites along the water's edge, along with purple roof stripe. And along with removing that, we're also going to be including more native plants to create that biodiversity. So creating a buffer from the road, we would add more woody plants, pictures of that, but woody plants, and we would, that would help create this buffer for any I guess, headlights coming down the road. So a lot of screening there. And we would,
Evergreens, you're focusing on evergreens. right?
yes, yeah, woody evergreen plants. So like mountain laurel, Lacothaway, American holly, and we would plant them far enough back from the road, so when they do reach their mature height, they won't interfere with any incoming traffic. And so, yeah, beyond that, would be, right now there is a turf area right here, mainly turf. We're proposing to strip all of that down and along the perimeter, create a native sedge area, and then in the center, clover and thyme, which I have. Yeah, so stripping that with a sod cutter and keeping in mind of the root systems there. So in some areas where the roots are exposed, we'll be doing that by hand instead of with the sod cutters. And then beyond that, along the water edge, just creating this riparian buffer with ostrich ferns, sensitive ferns, rushes, sedges, just help stabilize the land there. Because currently, it is just lawn. And, just creating some understory planting for that. Yeah, so walking around the site, we've also noticed some dead trees. So they are over here by the Phragmites, a few of them. And on site today, we just realized that, to create this bird habitat, we could keep some of them. And they're not really causing much of a threat since they're not near any dwelling or anything like that. So keeping them there, creating the bird habitat, but the ones by the road over here, do pose more of a threat because they're by telephone pole and power lines and stuff. So just removing those.
Those were
Um,
all ash trees on the road, weren't they? I
Yes,
think?
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and there's a burning bush too that we plan on removing, invasive, yes. And then I think just the last topic to cover would be the Phragmites. We really want to remove those because they are invasive, and so our plan would be to first stabilize the area, put in the silt fence, double line silt fence, and then our plan is to bring an excavator to the edge, and then just digging it and scooping it towards the bank. And once that is all exposed, we're gonna replant it with the riparian buffer mix from Ernst Seed.
Can I ask a question? I've never dealt with them before, but is there any argument for beheading them before you do this, just in case? When do they disperse their seeds or?
Well,
Are the seed heads mature now, or where are we in their?
I
cycle?
think it's the way they propagate is with the rhizomes and cut pieces.
Not so much
Not so much
seeding,
the
okay,
seeds, yeah.
got it, got
So
it.
so having that berm,
The
that
rhizomes are
berm
the
thing
whole
is so
issue.
important.
Yeah,
So
so we're
that
gonna,
kids don't float off to
Okay.
other areas.
yeah, we're gonna contaminate it and then, dispose of it off-site too.
Mhm.
There was something about it, hiding the ACs with some raising the
Oh,
grade slightly.
right over here. Actually, our plan is, once we strip the lawn area, instead of taking all of that sod off-site, you know, just repurposing it over here, and then creating like raised topo and have the American holly on top of that. Cause right now it's very deciduous over there. So when it is winter time, you can, you know, see right through there and you can see the AC units. So creating that extra buffer.
Could you possibly just describe that incredibly interesting plan you had for to deal with the water runoff from the road into the lake?
Oh, right.
That was so fascinating.
Those
I
are
was
Bill's
blown
words.
away. I know, it sounded amazing.
Yeah, I think since right now, all of the runoff from the road is coming on to over here, this side. So kind of buffering and creating these little pockets before all of that runoff gets to the water's edge. I think he was talking about maybe adding some like boulders in there, larger boulders.
And then mid-sized stone between and some
yes.
gravel or something.
Right, yeah. So it kind of like filters through before it even
Mhm.
reaches the.
And he was talking about letting the silt accumulate and deposit and accumulate down
Right.
Yes,
further.
fantastic, wasn't it?
Acting as a filter so that the water
Mhm.
going into our reservoir is filtered.
Right, exactly.
It was really great to
Fantastic.
hear
I know. it's
Yeah.
Really thoughtful.
and
We
would be
were
a model
amazed. I
sort
know.
of solution.
Right, yes.
That's, as Christopher made the point, very public and very showable, eminently
Yes, right there.
teachable.
Exactly.
Well, what you're proposing is music to our ears. It's so important for residents on the lake to be good stewards and do the right thing and to remove as much lawn as possible. Understanding if you have children or you entertain a lot, you need a lawn to entertain. But apart from that, having this option here of the sedges, which look like a lawn but don't need the maintenance, but then having that thyme and clover flat area where you can use it to pedestrian, but it has a little bit deeper root system, and having that riparian buffer is so thoughtful and so appreciated, and really is especially the property line along the lake is quite significant.
Right,
It,
yes.
it extends a lot. And going above and beyond that, removing the Phragmites, which I believe, because it's on the lake, you'd need permission from the Board of Trustees to do that. But I can't believe that I can't imagine they would be against that, because removing these invasive species is very important.
Did I understand that you were intending to do some of this quite soon on a deadline? And what was the
Yes,
deadline?
For the fall. I think Bill wants to do the outside edge first and work his way in.
But presumably the removal of the Phragmites is something that has to happen by when?
Well, he wants to plant in the fall, like September, October, for these sedges. So I guess, you know, because we're gonna have to make a tracking pad, I
Right.
guess, to get that out.
So here we are on the
Relatively
16th.
soon, yeah.
Right.
When is, what are the parameters for them as far as getting that Board of Trustees?
Well, they first need your approval.
Right,
And then,
and once they
a
do,
letter
they,
from Bill, just outlining what you're doing to remove the,
Okay.
Phragmites from near the lake, that would go to the Board of Trustees.
Okay.
And, I'll get that to them as soon as he prepares it.
so you could have an approval within 2 weeks or something.
When is the next BOT
Well, the
meeting?
Board doesn't, well, we might be able to arrange something earlier. The board meets this Wednesday, and then they wouldn't meet till the third Wednesday of October. But they might meet in between that, so the sooner
Okay.
Bill submits a letter outlining the plan and, safety precautions when dealing
Right,
with the
yeah.
reservoir, combined with the Board of Architects review approval.
Okay, great.
And I think what was good to hear that he's done this before on wetlands and
meadowlands, yeah.
meadowlands, and so he's experienced with it. So that's important to so we have a greater comfort factor.
I found every detail persuasive and, you know, he's so articulate, so knowledgeable, he's so open to discussion. I just came away from meeting him and being shown around, feeling very, very positively about this.
Yeah, great. I'll let him know.
It's very exciting, and it's a good model that we could
Yes, for sure.
show other residents that this is a fantastic thing to do. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
you.
much for me also that you care about the environment, that you care about the lake and the future of the park in this way, and all the important wildlife. You know, all of the creatures are going to be very, very grateful to have diversity of, you know, different types of pollen that's created and different habitats. You
And
know,
vertical
where there's
hotels.
no, where there's no
Yeah.
currently just lawn, so it's a fantastic plan. So any further comments, or can we move to? So I'd like to make a motion to approve your plans at 457 Westlake Road. Will you be able to read the plan into the record?
Landscape architect's biosphere, and dated,
I don't think it is actually.
oh, it is, here we
Oh,
go.
it is at the bottom.
June 24th, 2024, sheet number L101. The subject to the removal of the Phragmites australis invasive species in the water, subject to approval of the Board of Trustees meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Resounding aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you continue to do more and more work in the village.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you.
So, good evening, our last applicant for today.
Good evening, I'm Stan Van Nieuwenburg, I'm the homeowner at 3 Ridge Road. And I ask your permission for a patio extension. So this is the back of the house, basically for 2 reasons. The main reason that the house is on a hill, and the water runs down the hill and potentially jeopardizing the structural integrity of the house. When it rains a lot, the water pools because the patio is not correctly graded, not correctly sloped. So we're trying to remedy that. And then also because it's probably an original 1970 patio. It is cracked, there's weeds growing in it. It is also a little bit small for entertaining, so we'd like to ask for a modest expansion of the patio. And this would be the color. So this is called the paver Montauk Blue. It's similar to the existing color. I sent some pictures.
Yes, I would love to see.
I also have some
Yes,
pictures with me. I can
Oh,
show
good,
you.
good.
Is the existing material is?
Show you right here. So this is the existing. This is the existing material.
Is it thin bluestone or is it slate or?
Yeah, it's probably a slate.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And that dates, you say, from when the house was built in the
probably,
70s?
yeah.
But it's only an inch thick, is that right?
Yes, it's very thin.
Yeah.
So here is the
Really cracking.
comparison between the old and the new.
Mhm.
So the new proposed stone is a composite stone?
Yes,
And so these are much broader, flatter, wider, but
Exactly.
they're shallow and they're
correct. So it would be, I mean, obviously we would grade it to the same height as it currently is.
And it cannot be reused? You think it's too thin or?
Yeah, and it's cracked. A lot of them are cracked as well.
They're very irregular and settling different spots.
And how big would those slabs be? Is that
So
size?
this is sort of the medium size. There's a smaller one, and then there's a slightly larger one, and so we would alternate. them.
Ah,
That's
okay.
good,
Okay,
that's good.
that's nice.
Yeah.
We like that.
And then with a small border of onyx gray.
And what is this Cambridge wall? What's that? That sounds very intriguing.
So, and then the idea here is to build, so basically this is the existing driveway here. There's the garage. The idea here is to have a 3.6-inch wall and to build a grill in there. A small wall here, 3.5 inch high.
You know, foot.
A foot high.
Right.
Foot.
Right.
Foot.
Made of a red brick or of the same material?
Onyx natural. It's also grayish.
Mhm.
Can I ask a stupid question? Had you thought about using just a similar, what is it, about 2 inches deep? That how thick is that?
Yeah, probably.
2 inch. Had you considered just you finding granite? There's so much supply around here in the various stone yards, and or not. And I was wondering is what the price differential is if that's an issue. I have no idea how much that would run versus say
No,
granite.
I don't know, no, we haven't considered that yet. I mean, we're working with a company that, had a whole catalog and these pavers and, chose the colors that we like.
Mhm.
And then we consider alternative materials.
I mean, it maybe would, worth looking at, because I mean, it is a modern house, but I looked at the Cambridge, catalog and it's kind of not so much tuxedo, sort of patina. If the ideal scenario would be, like a bluestone, thicker bluestone, but it's not a historical house. It's the color is fine, so I don't think I don't have any objections to it. But if but I'd recommend that if the bluestone wasn't much more, then we'd be happier with that. But it's it's up to you.
I think, I don't know, we would have to explore it, but probably gonna be a lot more.
Well, that's why I was mentioning granite. I mean, you can probably source granite that's thicker at a cost that I'm sure would be competitive with that, but that's locally quarried and the other nice thing about granite is if it's got a kind of a rough tread is it's very slip proof or much more than bluestone can be. A little slick in certain kinds of weather, and I don't know about that, but of course the smoother it is, the greater the likelihood of a fall. But I understand, that's the problem with so much bluestone that's been laid is that it's just simply too thin, and so I understand why you want to replace it.
My patio is like that. It's
Maddening, yeah.
I don't I don't entertain a lot on it. I don't have kids, so for me it's fine. Well, I guess when my mother comes, I tell her not to go on it. But no, I don't have
Been
it.
bothering us since we bought the house 12 years ago.
Time flies, my gosh.
Do you have, would you say that it's necessary to have a site visit, or is it too small an area to worry about? The fact that it's just just a 2-foot extension.
I mean, I guess I would say that if you feel comfortable with the materials, I think in terms of the color and the tone and the value and everything, I mean, it seems perfectly acceptable from where I sit. I worry a little. I like hearing that you're using different
Yes.
sizes, and I worry that without any kind of distressing or hammering, that our friend Bunny Mellon would have done and did too, like that you're going to end up with seams that are too perfect and irregular. But I would absolutely sign off on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's just a concern with the the contractors and the company Cambridge. They're probably used to having a certain make it perfect, make it very, and that's not our style. So as long as they're aware that so if there's little imperfect things, they'd probably use better. But yeah, no, I have no problem with it. I'm happy to go ahead with it.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion then to approve the application for the number 3 Ridge Road. Is there a date on this application?
No, but if you want to put a date on there, today's date, then we can give that copy to John. Or do you have a date?
No, I don't have a date on the
Well,
application.
why don't we put the date on and sign this one?
Yeah.
Date is the 15th of November. This November. September. Oh my
Don't
gosh.
rush us.
No. So you signing?
Although I hope I'll be very happy by the 15th of November.
2024.
Okay, it's signed.
second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
One more question for you. If we were to consider solar panels on the back of the house, I know you just had a conversation about that. We were also looking at that. We also signed up for the village.
Oh, you did? Oh, well done.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I think that's sort of separate, but the house doesn't have a generator, and so part of the idea of the solar panels was to provide backup generation without having a loud generator, diesel fuel generator, and instead have the Tesla battery.
I think what we have said is, when it is not visible to other neighbors and from the road and is meaningfully capturing sun in some reasonably southerly facing or thereabouts, give or take, right?
Yeah.
Southwest, southeast. And it can be ultimately removed without destroying the house, down the line, that it makes great sense for all.
We'd
the
have to see it.
interested parties.
We'd
But
have
we
to-
should probably.
That'd be another
I mean, that's the case.
application
That's the-
necessary.
No, of
Mhm.
course.
But just
Of course. That's why I'm
theoretically,
asking sort of
principle,
ahead of
yes.
time.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
board sort of, is friendly to it, within that scope of considerations.
That would be the case. It's on the back side of the house.
Yeah.
Nobody sees it.
I mean, then it's doing the right thing.
Who is behind you? Is it Bob Klemecki or no, you're further
He's
down,
sort
right?
of up the hill, but I don't think he can
Right.
see the house at all from his yard. So there is the new owners, Van Overstraten.
Are you a school friend?
Yes. Number 7 Ridge Road.
Uh-huh.
The people in number 5 are never there.
Uh-huh.
7, but I don't think they can hardly see it from there as well.
But that, I mean, if you think there is a chance that the neighbor could see it and maybe they sell and it's a new neighbor that's very picky, then maybe if you're planning this, start to plant some evergreens or something. So there is no view of it. Well, that would be great. But yeah, in principle, yeah, we're for it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great,
for your
thank
time.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you so
evening.
much.
Have a great evening.
So, we're going to reschedule the approval of the minutes to the next session, and absent any further business, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting
Second.
at 6:32.
Yep.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank you so
Desiree.
much.
Good night.
Good night.